Welcome back to League of Legends Champions Korea, where I'm joined by a special guest here. Valdez, unfortunately, condition just got him down. No conditioning problems for OnFleek. He had a big game on its birthday girl. Ji-sun will be joining me for the cast. How you feeling, Ji-sun?
I'm feeling bad because Valdez is feeling bad.
You're feeling high empathy, but it's your birthday. Don't think of other people, think of yourself.
My birthday present, I wanted to be Valdez feeling better.
All right, well, you got a heart of gold there. I hope you're getting some chocolate or something nice, because you're just being a bit too suspiciously nice. But thank you, Ji-sun, for joining us.
No problem.
On the cast. And thank you, everyone around the world, for joining us. Game 2 of SANDBOX versus Jin Air. I don't know what your view was from the back, but SANDBOX come in 6-1. You think, all right, Jin Air, it's going to be a straightforward victory. SANDBOX Gaming required a lot of time and a lot of work, and it feels like they need to turn it around in game number 2. Otherwise, they may still go in, what, 7-1 on the break, but just a weird feeling, right?
Yeah, I mean, I expected something more consistent from them. Like, looking on the dashboard, I mean, SANDBOX is way higher in terms of rankings, but the game was a bit even, so I'm a little bit concerned for the Rift Rivals right now.
Yeah, they're not going to Rift Rivals, but still, it's a Rift Rivals break.
Yeah.
Still, they don't get to play it. They were so close. They finished 4th in the regular season. I was actually messaging you being like, wait, is it 4th in regular season or 4th in the postseason? But losing to Damwon 2-1 knocked them out. Still, you leave Friday and you don't come back till 2 weeks Thursday if you're SANDBOX Gaming because of that Rift Rivals break. So you want to leave something good. They had their fun. To me, the Pyke top was a fun pick because they thought they were going to easily beat Jin Air. Wasn't a fun game to watch. So zooming into the picks and bans here, Xayah, Lucian, and Yuumi on the blue side. Normally we see the Yuumi is that third ban on red side. Jace crops up his head. What do we think of the first pick? What do we think's good for SANDBOX? Because
Tahm Kench.
Easy answer, because we all know Tahm Kench first pick, Sona in the second round. That's been kind of a Ghost normal, and among the Korean fans, I feel like Ghost has got this interesting reputation. He's kind of a cute guy, definitely fits the part of Ghost. I feel like a lot of them are kind of happy to see him on the majors, on the Sona, because sometimes on the AD carry, he's definitely had struggles in the past.
Well, but recently, I mean, there was this episode where, like, Ghost kind of felt like the game was a bit, like, having a lag. So he made a pause, like, Kalista passive is not working fine. But some of the people said the bug wasn't really fixed, but he just pulled a great play with the Kalista passive not working fine. So I think his capability on both non-AD carries and AD carries are all on point.
Well, if his confidence is high, then he should play whatever he's feeling. As you know what, it feels like everyone in the LCK is feeling Azir priority, easily locked in, and definitely tier list-wise, when you look at the S tier, the A tier, the top of the left side of the screen, you see Griffin, but when you see the champions, you definitely see Azir and Aatrox. Jin Air just saying, in one round, I look at this, and I think you probably agree with me, Ji-sun, if I see Azir Aatrox, we're team fighting. I think a team fight comp is like on the menu from Jin Air. And the reason why I like that is when I watch Jin Air games, sometimes they're a bit too tricky. They try a really hard comp, and then they make a mistake along the way because they're these younger players. At least with a team fight comp, you know, come together like a death ball, force to fight, and if it goes your way, it goes your way.
And here I see Azir here and Corki also, so both it might be like scaling.
Sure.
So maybe if Malrang go with some of their strong early game jungle champ, which he's really good at, maybe Jin Air can show some better performance in game number 1.
And Xin Zhao was the one in the previous game. Sad news or happy news, depending on your Sona opinion. Sona will be on the menu here. Xin Zhao, Lee Sin, you could see him. Jax is my favorite one. I know he's that famous Jax player. I know the community knows all about that, so I've been waiting for Malrang to steal away OnFleek. This could be, it's kind of a Jax jungle battle here. It's OnFleek and Malrang both known for that. Seems like we're going to hold our horses. No jungle pick in the first round. It's going to be Lux, and whatever the AD carry next to the Lux, it's a lot of poke damage to make that Sona lane pretty tricky.
Both lanes into the bot lane, so both are really strong during the laning phase. So I'm wondering what Root can pull off here.
I mean, Root has been, to me, I don't know what the view is on the Korean side because we don't get to interact with Inven and those communities as much, but Root has been, to me, it's not Teddy, right, but it's kind of the Teddy role. He's been doing his job. He's had some amazing games, not always overall victories, but come out of the laning phase, 100 CS up or hit 8 kills, and then tried to crawl his team, you know, carry his team over the line. So he's the one you want to kind of recommend. And in the first game when we had early Tahm Kench, you kind of worried as a Jin Air fan that he'd be on Sona. That's not as much about that hard carry potential. So when you see him on an AD carry, you have to feel confident as a Jin Air fan.
And also, I think Korean fans already call him as a post-heady of Jin Air, so maybe I want to see something like Lucian from Root, but it's already banned out. You know, he's dashing forward and killing down all the enemies is really cool, but sadly it's banned out, so I'm not sure what kind of AD carry champs are viable right now.
There's a lot you can go, but I usually like a plan. I'm always like, okay, Jinx, but why? Or any other pick. As long as there's a plan behind it, it's fine. I do worry that kind of the naughtier Korean fans might call him like the Daiso Teddy, because I know they had the reputation as the Daiso team. If you don't follow that, the dollar store, unfortunately. But I think he's better than that. I think he deserves better, because I've been impressed just in a vacuum about how good Root is. Seems like he's talking a lot. He is going to go Jinx. Whoa. We premonitioned this one. 100% win rate. He saw one of, I imagine, his senpais in Deft roll that one. He says, Hyung, I can do it too. So he's going to be jumping on the Jinx this time. Not a lot of frontline in front of him, but a lot of damage.
Which means maybe Malrang has to take the role of the frontliner, or Aatrox can also maybe rotate to the jungle. So we'll have to wait and see who's going to be the frontliner, whether it's going to be Lindarang or Malrang.
That is something left open. Xin Zhao, good synergy with the Sona. Sona loves auto attackers, so the Xin Zhao's there. We're just waiting that last piece of info. Probably a top lane pick. This would be a very LPL-inspired pick. They don't like Renekton in Korea, but Summit says, why not? Renekton gonna be locked in here. Corki mid, Renekton top. No Cuvée-style Tahm Kench top this time. No Mashisos on the Korean string. Jin Air need to lock in something. This would not be following Ji-sun's advice, and it's her birthday, so listening to her is recommended. They're going to go for more damage. They're going to go the Karthus way. And you know what I know about this scump, Ji-sun? You blow them up, or you blow up. There is no middle ground. There's no thinking about it. Once the kills start on Jin Air's side, whether they're friendly or enemy, they stop, and the health bars go to 0.
There's gonna be a lot of AP damage on Jin Air's side, but also we have high maybe expectations for Jinx in the late game for AD damage, so we'll have to maybe wait and see.
But I'm going to come a little bit kind of closer here and kind of like pop a moment where I look at this and I say, I like Corki against Azir. You don't necessarily push, but you're kind of safe. You might be able to poke him out a little bit. I love Renekton against Aatrox. You run over that lane. And then Xin Zhao versus Karthus. Yes, if Karthus has a jungler, so his top laner backing up early, you can just fish for a late waste. Maybe you can kill. But obviously, if Xin Zhao gets on top of you, you're in trouble. That's a lot of kind of options top side for SANDBOX to exploit. And if they go even around Sona, if she's doing her farming, and they can run over Aatrox or run over the enemy jungler, it doesn't matter that Sona's usually a late game champion if you're already getting leads here. So the Karthus goes away from your thoughts and mine of having a front line and goes towards, what if this worked? It's cool, but will it be effective? I know I'm a little bit scared for Jin Air.
Yeah, if they let SANDBOX to extend their game, it's gonna be much easier for SANDBOX to kind of end out the game.
If they don't get a start here, it's gonna be a problem for Jin Air. Not all of the Jin Air seats are full. 10 p.m. on a Friday. They're probably out partying somewhere, Ji-sun, as you should be, of course. But we're ready to load in soon, hopefully, to game 2 of the night.
And I just got a call.
Got a call, I'm listening.
We might be having a delay for the game
Wait,
start.
Are you saying we're going to have some time for a Papa and Ji-sun birthday podcast? I can see Valdez just in the corner here laughing, not speaking, of course, but I like to think it's an airless laugh because he doesn't want to risk his lungs. Talk to me about your birthday, because today is your birthday. If you're not familiar with Ji-sun, she's the same voice you hear on the translation. Spo TV, couple of years into joining Riot, being our PD, really helping out all the global casters here and getting some stuff kicked off at Riot Games, and now caster on the day. But let's leave the work resume to one side. How are we feeling on our birthday?
So this is going to be one of most unforgettable birthday presents, casting LCK on English stream, but well, my summer vacation just started, but I'm taking summer lessons.
We talked to the chat about that, how you're like so excited, transports me back to 10 years ago when I'm on summer break, but I skipped the summer lessons. Your summer lessons are a Korean education quirk too far.
No, I need more sessions to graduate, so...
At least it gets you out of the door faster, which I can appreciate, but for this stream, for this podcast, which is extending our day, You're going to get this. I love to say this was all a cunning ruse. Like, I kind of want Valdez to come here in front of the camera and be like, actually, I can speak just fine. We just wanted to give you guys a cast on your birthday. But no, he actually is dying over there. So Bible thumbs in the chat for Valdez. He'll be strong. We'll see how he is for tomorrow. Maybe it has to be the Papa fill-in day. We'll wait and see. Atlas has a wedding tomorrow, so he's a busy boy.
Busy boy.
Scooting around the fans here. The blind monk.
So
on both sides. What are you reading here?
That there's a reason. Opened his eye thanks to Mina.
Wow. So a Mina fan in the audience. Ms. Kim, very, very popular with the LCK crowd. What are we seeing here? We now have some amazing translation.
Another listen. So things are going as he planned. I think it's speaking of OnFleek, I guess. This is OnFleek drawing.
And there's Ghost. I can recognize him. I played Pac-Man. I know what a Ghost looks like.
And another Jin Air fighting fan sign.
Much simpler. Jin Air, a very old org, was around in the StarCraft days, so understand. It still has a StarCraft squad in 2019. So shout out to Jin Air, really big friend of esports. Here's Dove. We all know him on the English streams, being famous for his impersonations. He's got that,
deep voice.
The deep voice. I know that's a rare one among Koreans. So one of those things where certain attributes.
I'm actually a fan.
A Dove fan. Okay, well. Should ask him for a birthday hug. I'm sure he would oblige.
I'm shy.
There you go. Okay, well, you're not too shy to come on the English broadcast, so for that we appreciate you.
I'm here to save the English broadcast.
You are here to save it. I mean, you couldn't just leave it to me. It would have been a disaster. And Valdez is dying, so you actually saved a life on your birthday. We have to give you a purple heart or something like that. I think that's American. Is there purple hearts around there? I know there's purple hearts in Twitch chat. I'm sure they can oblige with something nice.
Compared to the English chat, the Korean user doesn't really use the emotes a lot.
So I've had a theory about this. I'll run it by you. The emotes are still just English phrases. Like there's no like PogChamp but in Hangul thing. So do you think if they just made it into Korean characters, people would use them more?
Maybe, but I'm not really sure.
We can't be certain, but that's what, because I venture into the Korean side, especially when it was Worlds and there was like a different Korean stream than there was for the English stream, and I kind of want to see what's like. And I noticed that too. I was like, weird, no emote use in the chat. So
no, it's more like text mainly.
Is it just memes? Is it nice and harsh things?
It's like more
what's
like
the
LOL,
vibe?
LOL, LOL.
Is
and
it, so
when we see a damage graph, we always like...
Simit. What are we doing on the Simit sign here? That's a different
I'm
vowel.
not really sure. So he's here to support Summit.
I got that part.
But
I just don't know what the meme is.
Well, I'm not familiar either.
Is it possible that he just closed up his vowels and thought I was you? I guess it's possible. I don't know. I'd like to think he was doing something clever. If this was like a guy in an EA shirt, he'd be like, I'm a Sims guy, by the way. Maybe that would be very clever.
Maybe.
But I don't think so. I think it's just
so.
a mistake. So a lot of our fans might not know, but Koreans love to put two words together. And that's why we get things like rollster, the roller coaster. My favorite one that we have in my area of where I live is a craft beer and pizza place called Crapizza, but it reads as crap pizza, which is hilarious.
Oh my God.
They've probably been told this, but they don't know. What amazing kind of English combination words of using, because there's some that are just straight up funny. Let's be real.
Well, mainly the most commonly used one is like chicken and beer, so we call it chimek.
That one I know. That's very common, but come on, there has to be some extra silly ones here. If you think of one, get it back to me. But
so I really like the term Konglish, actually.
So Korean English,
like wrongly used English terms.
So what do you, like, as someone who obviously has a great command of English and a great command of Korean, what is Konglish to you? Like, what is a English person or English first language person listening for to hear Konglish? Like, kind of like, I guess, understandable small mistakes, but still kind of identifiable English.
Skinship?
Skinship.
It's like any kind
That's
of
like kind of like a handshake,
or
right?
hug.
So I think skinship is an English thing. This is no one would ever say that.
And also fighting, but I like it.
Fighting is very funny.
I can't really find the exact translation for fighting.
So Koreans say whiting, right?
No, it's like fighting.
I hear it as HWA. Like whiting.
Kind of.
And when I say that, people nod their heads. So maybe it's because I'm silly, who knows? But fighting obviously is what they're going for. I agree. When I first came, I was like, I don't think I want to punch you. You know, when the first time I had the fighting thing. But you get the whole like, let's do it, fighting. And you're like, okay.
Like, cheer up. Let's go.
Let's get into the battle together is kind of the thought there. So I appreciate that.
At first, I tried to translate like, let's go, Jin Air. but I understand that actually all the foreign fans know fighting means like cheer up, so I just using fighting for the subtitles.
I feel like we've co-opted from the Korean side nicer and fighting. We know, and also memboom. We stole that one. We stole that from Korean. There's also naughtier ones. We don't use those, but we definitely know those first three. From there, the KKK, of course, never gets forgotten. It took me a long time because I used to watch a Hotshot stream when the Koreans used to play on the NA server. Cloud Templar was like a Ramasoni player and stuff like that. And there was a lot of ZZZs, and that's the other one you know. It's only afterwards I learned that's because it's an actual, in the same spot on the keyboard, different character, right? Can you explain that? So why do you see ZZZ so much from Koreans?
So KKK in Korean, which is like LOL or ha ha
ha.
So I actually like saw some of the NA players coming for bootcamp or EU players coming for bootcamp, so Korean players just like randomly type ZZZ. So I was a little bit worried like the players might think it as like sleepy or restless sleeper.
That's what I thought, right?
But actually the Korean pros also told me they all know that it means like LOL, so it's really funny to see two different cultures or like interacting.
But it'd be a lot of things where like some shenanigans thing would happen, like a double kill out of nowhere, and you'd see ZZZ, and you could understand it as like, you know, like. But then I found out much later that it was the haha part. So I appreciate that I know that. It's more glass half full than I expected. Not people going Resident Sleeper. It's people going LOL. As SANDBOX. Whoa, what are we injecting with?
This is a character for Summit. I don't know why it's the right
What's on the bag? Is that like a blood transfusion?
I think it says victory, but it looks like blood.
Does it mean they want him to play Vladimir, maybe?
No, it's just like, I don't know, cheer up Summit and Medlife with Handsome.
A Mad Life fan right there. Shout out to Mad Life. I loved catching him on the day season. We got 3 now, right? We have Mad Life, Captain Jack rolls in. What's the stage name of the LCS and
So I actually asked Vitor whether he prefers his Korean name or his caster name. His caster name is Topsal.
And we know him as Vitor, which I makes. What about the new guy?
The new guy is Topsal. So I asked Vitor whether he prefers Topsal or his like Korean name in English. So his Korean name is Suhan.
Okay, Suhan.
And he prefers to be called in Suhan for the English fans. So I try to introduce him as Suhan when I'm doing the preview shows.
He always wants to catch me when he comes in because he does the LCS and LEC stuff that I also watch. So fun to talk to him, give him a different perspective on it.
So it's about Summit. My heart is Summit. Summit's like my heart just like.
It turns out when you get the translation, the Korean fans really have their favorites, and they really want their favorites to do well, which is adorable in some ways. Normally, we just see a lot of alpacas, and we see the Def fans coming from a mile away.
Yeah, Def has a really huge fan base, like coming from China.
And that's the thing. I've mentioned this offhand, but the surprising thing when you come into the stadium on a King Zone day is you hear a lot of Chinese being spoken, and that is the confirmation that the Chinese fans come through. And you gotta think that they're definitely on the more affluent end because they're flying from China just to watch King Zone games, which is a great amount of fandom that we love to see. So King Zone, Deft over on EDG found so much success alongside Pawn. He wasn't just a famous Korean player that went there and did his best. He was a winner, and people respect winners. So shout out to Deft, King Zone, and the Chinese fan base.
And also, well, I guess Summit has a lot of fans. It's like all the Summit's friends are supporting him.
Well, I mean, just from my perspective, seems like a pretty handsome guy. He's good at the game, which is helpful. And
I saw him using Twitter a lot, making a lot of interactions
yes, he's
with
active.
his fans.
Some of the SANDBOX players are pretty active. The other one I see is Loken and talking to his brother, who is Jin Air's top laner Tana, right? Which is pretty cool to see as well. Malrang stares on. No roster changes for Jin Air coming into game number 2.
You know what? I was a big fan of Malrang when he was in Challengers because I was so impressed that he actually like pulled off Jace jungle and stuff like that because he was like surpassing other players so much.
And that promotion tournament, Ever 8 winners, he was playing Jace jungle, he was playing Jack's jungle, that again, he was the one to bring it back beyond, stole it away from him. Yeah, it's a good call, G-Sun. Look at you, OG as hell over here on the other side of the cast. Great having you filling. If you're joining us late, guys, we had some issues that have delayed the start of game number 2. And also, wow, that is a very angry ghost shushing everyone. I'll speak quietly then. Also, unfortunately, my co-caster for today, Valdez, unfortunately has been stricken with illness. I think if it was a quick 2-0-2-0 day, he might have been fine, but unfortunately, the game just got too intense, and then a Pike was locked in, and we're like, uh-oh, this isn't going to work for poor Valdez. So I play-by-played with him, croaking out some very smart and dapper analysis in game number 1. We've given G-Sun the floor on her birthday. Our usual translator, PD, Just all around awesome gal, so we're happy to have her here for game number 2. When we get to it, and I must admit, I didn't tell you this because I was afraid you wouldn't join, but it is a tradition for the first day that someone broadcasts on Korean League of Legends for there to be a pause. The last person to debut, and LS was re-debuting, he'd been there before, but the last one to debut was almost a year ago. Joel filled in for a day when my co-caster was sick and came in, the old OGN translator, and there was a 20-minute pause.
Oh my
It always
God.
happens.
The
Achilles,
curse
it
is
happened.
going on.
Valdez, do you remember if you guys had, I mean, SpoTV had a lot of issues. I think you guys had a lot. So yeah, SpoTV, so Valdez when he came back, maybe not your original time at OGN. So Valdez, a lot of people don't know, was a color caster for OGN in 2012 before Monty and Doa got there.
Yeah, he told me. He was like casting the invitational maybe?
It was like, I want to say it was Moltrap, Valdez, and Locodoco at one point. They were switching through because Torch was there originally with Moltrap, but he got called away, so they had different people filling in. We're getting information ahead, so Ji-sun, I'm sure, will give us an update.
So it's taking quite long, so we might be watching the mic check of LCK Pro players.
Ooh, we might have to delay, guys. So we're going to show you guys some cool content. The podcast with Birthday Girl Ji-sun. You know, there'll probably be a game podcast, but the actual podcast is going to have to take a bit of a short break shortly. We'll let you know. You'll know. There'll be a video on the screen instead of our only person who has graduated from the military in Joker on screen right now.
And the original plan was we were about to release the new episode of Korean Players, the mic check, but
mic check.
it's taking too long, so we might have to open it right now.
I'm not okay with this Simic guy, I'm going to be real. But I think we're going to roll on a video. You guys can enjoy this. Oh, maybe we can talk over it. No, here we go.
라운드 체크. 탑. 탑 선수 말씀해 주세요.
아, 탑이야. 탑 안 보여. 탑이야. 탑.
선수는 다 잘 들리시나요? 네. 1번의 주가 자이컴네.
아, 우리 언니 또 죽었다. 수은 좀 사라. 뭐하냐.
야. 빠지기
야, 이성아. 자동 공격 꺼.
뭐라고?
자동 공격 끄라고. 너 CS 너무 많이 먹어. 너볼 맘이야. 어?
나는 리시를
볼
잘하는
맘, 볼
탑라이너.
볼수록 맘에 안
리시 없이
들어.
못 살아.
야, 우연이는 그냥 아무 해도 왜 이렇게 크냐?
시작에 차단 기능 없어?
그러니까 차단 기능 없냐고.
다들 수군대는 걸 자기는
시끄러.
아니
시끄럽다고 좀.
있잖아. 기념이 따라 불러주면 안 할게.
같이 좀 불러줘 빨리. 너무 시끄러워.
기념 나 오늘 컨디션 최고. 내가 캐리함?
캐리.
너 빨리 노래 불러.
아, 미안하다.
빨리 기념 불러줘.
빨리 같이 불러줘. 너무
기념이 따라
시끄러워.
불러주면 안 한다고.
시끄러.
김기인의 삐삐 한번 듣고 싶어. 삐삐.
너 카메라가 너무 날 부담스럽게 갖고 있는데. 눈싸움 할까?
너가 무조건 져.
갔다.
조커.
나오는 거 있는 거 맞아?
아니요?
아니잖아.
안 나오고 계세요. 빨간불 들어오면서 애기들이.
아 빨간불 들어와야 나오는 거야?
네네네. 저기가
이제
나와요. 아, 포즈 한번 잡아주고.
카메라 의식하는 충성.
충성.
충성이야.
충성한
왜
말이야.
그래?
지금 나온 중인데.
나한테 왜
두꺼비.
갔다. 우태한테 갔다. 나이스. 아 보여줘. 네가 보여줘.
두꺼비.
빨간불 또에 켜져 있는 거 아니야?
가만히 있을게요.
아닌가?
간다.
맞지? 하나보다.
야, 나 다시 가자. 나 가져가면 되고.
와봐.
야, 가볼게 그럼. 가볼게. 아트. 높냐? 아트. 잡은 거 같아. 나 미드 패자다 미드 밀게. 역시 오늘의 승리피 코르키다. 난 너가 성장 기대치 높고 가서 좋겠어. 코르키 가자. 나이스. 죽겠다 아웃. 야, 닦아. 다 높을. 나이스. 천천히 해.
다 비켜.
가자.
다 비키세요.
나이스.
맞아. 너무 좋아 호수야. 너무 좋아 진짜로.
야, 맞아 할 것 같은데 이거. 우리 탑 다이브 치자. 이거 살 잡아.
그라 배치가 없어. 그라.
그라. 빼. 야, 방금 레전드 찍었어. 나 뭐야? 너냐 김원주?
나 뭐야.
끝난 거 같아. 천천히. 갈게.
나이스. 쌀이 제일.
이겼다. 호수야. 이거.
나이스.
호수야.
Welcome back, everybody, to LCK on a Friday night. We have had a lot of different things happen, and where we find ourselves this extended pause, hopefully going to be abated soon for game number 2 of Jin Air Greenwings versus SANDBOX. You're hearing Papa hosting because, unfortunately, our good friend Valdez has just fallen down with sickness been stricken, and we have birthday girl G-Sun, usual translator and PD joining in. Thank you, G-Sun, for being here. Nice to have you here. Hopefully we're going to get into the lobby really soon for this game number 2.
I think they're remaking lobby. We're having the same network issue that happened in game number the first match. It's about the whole building. The network is not working fine, so some of the players weren't able to go into game with the rooms they wanted. So I think we're remaking the lobby.
Okay, that's a pretty simple standard problem that, of course, internet issues would necessitate. So we got Valdez coming in as our water boy, bringing us back some water while we go over this. You shouldn't walk past there. Come over here, mate. We'll be fine. Around the corner's fine. It's his first time, guys. Don't worry about it. Valdez hooking us up with some ice-cold water for hopefully a fun game between Jin Air and their opponents today, SANDBOX. We've already seen the drop, so we're kind of just waiting for it all to get going. I think the Twitch chat are enjoying the Simmet meme right now. Simmet's now a new thing. They've created a monster.
Any guess for the Simmet's meaning?
No idea.
No idea either.
I think people were just laughing at the potential for there to have been a small mistake. Jin Air Greenwings fan. Whoa! Put your tongue away. You're not Tom Kent. That's right. Censored on this side. And look, we're here. We're here. Feels a bit like bring your daughter to work day over here. But we're here on G-Sun's birthday, guys. How you feeling over here, G-Sun? You doing all right?
Feeling good.
All right.
And feeling bad for Brandon.
This empathy level is troubling me. You've got this super high empathy thing going on where I feel this
I
way.
was watching him the whole game
That's
number
true.
one. He was dying.
Okay, I get it.
So I actually messaged him, I hope your J gets popped, but I hope you can revive.
There you go. So you're doing the thing. Whoa, the jib is coming over, I assume, to put us on Korean television, perhaps.
Ooh, I'm on TV.
We're on TV. Mom, get the camera. Get the camera. They actually got the camera. My mom's right in this story. It's kind of weird. Hi, guys. We're doing something a little different here for this day, as sadly Valdez just had a tough time. Jin Air also on an extended tough time, and it's that weird spot where every time Jin Air play, you kind of want them to win so that 0-18 season never happens, right?
I mean, I'm always loaded with the glad playing meme. I made a Photoshop with my own picture, but it's never coming.
You say it's never coming. I'm more positive than that. Some of our teams are a little bit bad at times, G-Sun. So it might be coming, but you probably have the right idea there. It is tricky to see. As the jib goes away, it comes back. What is even happening here? We're being ganked by camera above us, but we'll be fine. We'll be fine as we roll into game number 2.
It's back here.
It is back here, but we're not on screen just yet. We get to do the cheating
and camera
thing
shot.
Whoa, we're here in 3D. Exactly.
What is this cheer about?
They're cheering for us. It probably also reminded them it's your birthday.
Aww.
The fans around us heard you. I heard us singing happy birthday to you, so they know it. There's a cute teddy in the corner there.
They're singing happy birthday for me.
Let's listen to that one. Beautiful to hear. We did it. You guys did it. We love it over here. It's a festival atmosphere at LOL Park, and we're loving it. See, look at all the love G-Sun's throwing out here. There'll never be a broadcast quite this. You probably won't have a birthday quite like this again, G-Sun, so
this
enjoy
is my best birthday ever. Seriously.
Damn. Well, there you go. I haven't been at the previous ones, but I bet they were pretty good. So we'll say that is a big compliment. I got a question for you. Now, you've obviously been very busy with all of your League of Legends responsibilities. How much Teamfight Tactics have you interacted with? Have you watched any streams? Have you played the game?
I
Where
watched
we at?
some streams. That's it.
What is your choice of little legend? You know, the little guy that runs around.
I want the pink or purple, the puppy one.
Ah, the puppy purple one. I got you on that. See, I'm actually very OG. You know the penguin? I go for the standard penguin. I don't even go for the upgrade where he looks badass with a big sword. No,
the default
I just
penguin?
want him. He kind of looks like something out of One Piece, you know? Like One Piece and Pixar had a baby and this Pingu showed up. It's so adorable and simple. I'm a big fan. So that's the one I like. But I played my first game on a main server. I jumped on NA and played a single game. And no one has anything, of course, because you have to spend money on it. So for now, at least, it's been simple. But you don't need to spend money on this, G-Sun. We're going to go through picks and bans for game number 2, SANDBOX versus Jin Air. Bob Smithy is going to be hosting as we run through all of this again. G-Sun, is my expert color caster and special comments on the red side here of the caster desk. Let's get through this all, see if anything changes. I gotta say, what's the deal with these hot packs? It's hot, G-Sun.
It is? Is it?
I mean, the weather's hot. You've been around. I don't
I'm
think
a
it's
little
cold.
bit shaking right now. Actually.
All right. Well, then apparently you got to wear.
And
those
also, all the
jackets.
players actually like keep the temperature a bit high because they don't want their fingers like to be frozen.
That makes sense. And of course, the computers have to be kept
So we
on the
can
cold
actually
side.
see some players like sweating when they were playing in booth, like OG and Spo TV
That's
days.
true. And it's that weird spot where the computers can't be too hot, otherwise it's computer issues, so that one falls away. We're running through this again, guys. This pick ban was already done, so we're not going to be too analytical over it, but we were, if you remember, we were a bit scared that Jin Air, with their Karthus last pick, had gone pretty brittle, pretty squishy. The lanes weren't necessarily like super winning. So there's a chance this Xin Zhao does like a Mulan and dives in there with a big spear and gets a lot of damage in, so it's kind of our look here. It feels like SANDBOX could put away Jin Air in the early game, but you would have said that about game 1 and it didn't happen. So I just have no idea what to expect with game number 2.
I mean, Jin Air always have been doing so well in early games. They're like the early game G2. But I'm not really sure why they are not able to kind of close out
Risky
the
to bring
game.
up Jin Air and G2. LS is somewhere watching, but yes, just like G2.
I mean,
But I agree with you in that their early game isn't their problem. Their early games actually goes from being good to being fine. It's never like, whoa, but at the end of the day, it has been impressive at times. But then we get into a scenario like this where SANDBOX, they're bringing in the LPL favorite, that aggressive Renekton pick that just has his way with
do you know
most
how to
top
make
players.
an LCK style? Shyvana.
Oh. We're bringing it back. Were you watching in those days?
Yeah, I was.
Shine
That's
Flame
the moment
every game?
like I started watching it.
So
Like
I'm gonna
Mundo,
ask you,
Shyvana, Renekton.
I'm going to make you pick a lot of sides today. I'm going to give you the easy and/or questions. Were you a Shyvana or a Renekton? Because you were only one. You got to choose one.
Shyvana.
I'm with you. The Shyvana part was cooler. I think for me, the reason was that I got into League early and I watched Moscow 5, Gambit, etc. go and counter jungle, and Shyvana was the first counter jungle champion that Diamond Prox, who still plays to this day, uses, so I was always kind of on the Shyvana side. But Renekton does appeal to my old fingers, you know, my real age of 32. I tell the chat I can only play Pantheon because he's easy. Renekton's actually pretty easy too.
And also, if you play Shyvana, you can use 7 skills.
That's true. It is fun to have, but then you have to hit 7 skills, and I can't do that, G-Sun. I just can't. It's too damn hard.
Root carry, and actually,
And that was drawn recently, because look, there's the rocket launcher of Jinx on the back. Wow, very
she
impressive.
called it.
That is
And
very,
also
very-
tomorrow, it's the Jin Air head coach H-Dragon's birthday.
and he is a popular man with some of the older crowd here. Very handsome coach. Whenever it's Jin Air versus Kingzone, it's those really handsome coaches, Hirai and also
It's like a
Coach
catwalk, you know?
a cat. Well, I wouldn't say that, but you can, G-Sun. We let you talk about the catwalk of coaches as we show you the catwalk of champions in this game. Sona going to be coming out for the first time tonight. It's usually really good news or really bad news. We don't really have a middling Sona performance, and the lane phase is often the place to focus on. We go on to the enemy side, and we're worried that the front line is brittle, but we're so hyped to see both a Karthus and a Jinx together. But if it starts slow, it might end fast for Jin Air. So, will it be a 2-0? Will it be a competitive match? We'll let you guys know. We load up into game number 2. It's been delayed, but let's go live. Holy moly, the Jin Air fans are so loud. It's different from this vantage point, isn't it? Usually in the control room, but when you're close to one side and they're loud, the Genji fans especially, guilty of being loud, can be interesting. We have player names disabled at the moment, which is interesting, but it is Jin Air on the red,
Maybe
SANDBOX
Jonas
on the
Strong
blue.
fell asleep.
Jonas Strong is, of course, our resident observer. We've named him before, but sometimes I disagree with him, so I just don't use his name. That's what I do. Take that, Jonas Strong.
He's
Gonna have
like the devil's advocate of LCK. He's like always saying no for no reason.
You know, he is a bit like the devil's advocate of the LCKs. The names are on! That's what we want. Give us those nameplates. Give us game 2. SANDBOX on a late invade. They're trying to spot if Jin Air are trying to re-invade for a very early take. It's not going to happen. Karthus, you know, he's been 3 buffs. He's been been having a pretty good start recently. Kellin's runes, he's gone for the runes that tilted bot lane 80 carries for a long time. The reason why I say that, G-Sun, is they hit the hook, they hit the skill shot there. They're going to hit the Q, and that actually draws a flash out. That means Sona no flash in the bot lane, and
Turret dive.
And exactly, and Tompkins doesn't have Devour at level 1, so this Sona's 300 health and doesn't have much of an ability to approach the lane. So you can actually, as Jin Air, go for a very extended freeze here, and like you mentioned, bring in a jungler and just see what happens under turret.
So Malrang is actually very near. Do you see any possible turret dive here?
I mean, it's going to be a possibility, but on the riskier side, Joker smartly walks up and gets the news that Malrang is here. He's going to steal away a bit of the camp. I don't believe enough to prevent it being a 3-camp level 3, and the final Little Krug will die. Doesn't actually stay to deny the turret. It will go down. You have no control as level 2. When you make a play like that, the moment the binding hit, Ghost Flash was down, they have to give it up. So things going to be slower on getting that quest in to allow the Sona to farm. On the top side, Lindarang's just trying to walk up and get CS, but you can tell what he's expecting from the lane. He's gone cloth armor and 4 pots. He's trying to weather a storm.
Oh.
Kind of all you can do. We saw it from the Akali in our first game against Jace, where it's like, well, if I go Doran's shield, I actually might not be able to get through this lane, so I got to go further and go into that cloth armor and build it into something later. We do see Malrang coming back at level 3 when the minion wave had gotten there, but the turret dive obviously on the trickier side, so he'll back away. Kind of want to be where OnFleek is. You can do damage, you can gank. The problem is if the enemy jungler is waiting for you, that's where Karthus can get blown up quickly.
I was actually watching the POV stream of OnFleek for game number 1.
What did you take from it?
He has a very good mechanic.
Obviously. I mean, I'm up there. I'm an OnFleek and Summit fanboy, Jason. Don't worry. Oh, Lei Wei's coming. One more. Not going to find the final Lei Wei's. They're forcing Joker out of lane. You never want to use your teleport before you have 450 gold because you can't even update your support item here. But no Frostfang timing. Ghost is being greedy. Notice that Xin Zhao's not saying, all right, I'll come help you. And that means that Ghost, sorry, no luck. 2 turret blades, and if you leave Jinx with free time, she doesn't even need attack speed items to get those turret plates.
I guess this is the worst scenario for Sona and Hong Kong.
Oh yeah, it's up there, G-Sun. But good news, just about found enough gold for the Frostfang. It's not going to bail out the Sona by any means, but it's a small sliver of hope. As it apparently Malrang decided he doesn't want to explore top side. He's going bot side every time. He's got a full clear because he was able to get enemy red side jungle in his own blue. He's back again. If anyone wants to walk up, he's going to be spotted. He actually exited the brush. Don't know about that one, mate, but he did it anyway. I think they know he's here. What do you think? Do they know Karthus here or no?
They pinged, actually.
Well, there you go. See, I think he was actually, his model was out. Xin Zhao could come in and kill him, so Malrang needs to decide things quickly. Walking once again. If he even chunks people out, it's big. OnFleek present, spotted in a ward, control ward, being cleared. We see 3v3. I give the 3v SANDBOX. They're putting in a TP as well. Root has to run away here. Charge onto Kellin. He flashes already. Dove has a lot of damage, doesn't have a lot of CC, but I think Malrang's done. He stuck around for too long. He's going to accept his fate. He goes down, and Jin Air, they forced it too hard, G-Sun. It seemed like everyone knew, both teams, the crowd, everyone knew it was forcing a bit too hard, and now the Karthus is down.
Even I could read it as a magazine, like, it was too obvious.
Of course you can. You're a color caster today, G-Sun. You know everything about League of Legends.
Yes, I do.
And this top lane, it's Summit versus Lindarang. So already the nameplate's like, oh, Summit's really good and Lindarang struggled, but the matchup also making it harder. We saw Karthus come like 1 second out of the brush, and it seems like everyone else saw it. Sadly, the replays caught that one. TP comes in. Dove can afford to do this, watching in mid lane. It's not like Azir was getting a lot of turret plates or anything, so this wasn't going to be super costly. And getting the kill on Karthus, only good news story is Karthus didn't flash, but he did die. Wave clear, wave clear, wave clear in mid. Jin Air, our worry was, lanes look a bit brittle on the top side. What might happen there? That hasn't been how this game has gone. You can tell bot side's going. Kellin's just ganking junglers at this point.
Flash forward.
Q misses, by half a Teemo. Autos might do it. Anything hits on Vic, he dies. They don't get it, and Dove's feeling frisky. He walks up and says, get the hell away from my jungler, but that one was close.
That was so close.
super close, and nice to see that little moment because Jin Air were the one that took the losses in that earlier trade with the TP. Summit is just the scariest Crocodile. Crocodile Dundee had nothing on this guy. Summit walks up, but Lindarang, Summit takes a bad trade. Now he's actually hightailing. He has no jungler to back him up. Dominus is popped. It's just a trade of ultimates. Watch as the Rage Bar goes up. This can still be won by the Renekton, and Lindarang gets the mail. It arrived late. He had to send his tracking number to the post office, but eventually he learns he should back away. So what are you taking away here? I mean, we kind of came in with the expectation. Jin Air don't know about the early game, need to get through that. We didn't expect the bot side focus, but a lot of that was the flash at level 1. So far, the lanes are going okay. As Summit dives in, press the attack proc, you're starting to see the big damage. Your eyes get wide. You can see why Renekton is so favored, but we know that eventually Aatrox runs into a team fight. He's kind of a god if one kill comes in. The Renekton really has to get it done in lane, and right now 20 CS is a good start, but they need more. They kind of need kills to put it over the line.
Yeah, I have this image that Renekton has, like, people in Korea, people call it some champions like Renekton, or I don't
Kellin?
know, maybe. No, not like, so some champions that are really strong in early phase, but gets weaker. We call it like, those champions have expiration date.
Well, the expiration date might be hit right now. There's a lot of people close to dying, but Grace teleport doesn't find a kill. Lindarang gets out. Only Summoner blown. A lot of aggression. Like to see that from SANDBOX. They don't get a kill from it, though. They back away. TP is drawn. And this is pretty big. In Korea, we've seen the turrets for the Sona and Tahm Kench go down very, very late. Geez, we've seen 7 minutes. Sona getting the 500 gold from her quest, whereas in other regions, I think we saw a 22-minute Rift Rival. So it can go way worse, but I feel almost like I'm lying or talking about something people don't see, because in Korea, almost every time the Sona Kench got through lane. This is one of those rare times where the Sona lost the flash, they got the turret. That's a lot of immediate gold going into Root and Kellin. And now the problem is, if Sona can't find someone to poke with her Q, that quest could take a long, long time to reach 500 gold.
Maybe another nightmare of like 20-minute no quest Sona
Oh,
show up.
I don't want to think about that nightmare, G-Sun. Jin Air already have nightmares. What happens when you have nightmares and there's more? That doesn't sound good.
Well, Lux is wearing a pajama.
I would like to think she's ready for a slumber party and not a nightmare party, but
okay.
I see where your brain goes on your birthday. Cool story. Anyway, getting back to the wave clear, Sona now has to come to a lane, and it's even in an awkward spot. If Sona wants to come in here and poke, she's all the way on the enemy side. Her flash is up, but
too risky, right?
yeah, it does feel on the riskier side. It's probably best to just have Joker wait and try to kind of freeze the wave as close to the turret as they can get away with. We haven't clicked on Sona. You can tell from the icon, yeah, exactly, the shape of the icon next to the tier. The quest hasn't been cashed in yet, so 9 minutes in, Viper would have had this 3 minutes ago, which, you know, that is Griffin versus Jin Air, but is something to point out. Ghost, was he? Oh, finally won. Boom, there's a little bit of gold, but been denied for the majority of it. We come through here. What's your Sona skin? Because I actually gravitate towards this cool kind of sci-fi Sona skin. I'm not a DJ Sona man.
I don't think I have ever played Sona.
Because you're not a support player at all.
From
what I understand, I've heard your reputation as 80 carry is your big role.
I am a decent 80 carry, that's true.
What's your 80 carry, champ?
Azrael, Lucian, Kai'Sa.
Oh wow, so you just play the meta.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Catching up with LCK.
Damn. Well, you watch the pros do it, and you say, I can do it too, and I hear you're pretty good at the League of Legends. That's what the word on the street is. You can confirm or deny, or you can keep it to yourself. We always tell the fan about how we're Wood 5 over here, so we're always super honest. Jin Air, this is a cool move from them. They're walking over, they're taking Rift Herald, and Xin Zhao, no man's land to pick this up. Another early Rift Herald side, and the hooting and hollering from the small but loyal Jin Air side is big. They want to jam down this Rift Herald and deny away Ghost from picking up any more gold.
So what's your guess for the completion of her quest?
I'm feeling 16 minutes, but I've had no even spoilers. I never saw one number, so I actually have very little context. It's actually done. I told a lie. 11 minutes, not so bad. Finding lands, a bit of round of damage. This is kind of the life of Tahm Kench against Lux, against range champions. You live based on how much chunk you take rather than if you're going to take damage. So walks up, able to do fine things. We're just farming in the top side, which now Ghost can go for the CS. He doesn't have to be overextending, so he actually doesn't care as much about the minion wave is. Good news for the Sona. Good news for the people who will back up the Sona. The game goes on. Malrang still looking for that spot. When do you drop the Rift Herald? Everyone knows pre-14. That's the meta right now. Do we jam it now? Do we not? They don't have forward vision. They put down the Rift Herald, and we'll see what the defense is. So the minion wave crashes. Let's see who's coming. Grace, we're RSVPing for a party. Feels like G-Sun's birthday party. On the top side, Grace is already there. Most people are there. Aatrox can TP in.
Another plate. Oh.
Yeah, the third plate, I believe, was kind of, not sure for the gold was confirmed from it, but that is 3 plates
Jinx
down.
did pick it up.
That's good news. If Jinx is getting it, that's happy time. And look at Jinx in this lane. This has been the week 4 style. Is don't go Executioner's Calling, go Cull and try to farm next to the Sona. And then if you win that fight at 20, you know, before the Sona comp really gets there, like 28 to 30, maybe it's fine. So the Cull cashed in, some turret plates in. Root is feeling cashed up. Maybe it's his birthday today, we're not to know. But that's some good signs. Birthday friends, exactly. We already mentioned on cast, but Rusty, the LPL, now OPL caster, it's his birthday today.
Really?
So we do have one.
Happy birthday to him.
There you go. Happy birthday to Rusty, another League of Legends personality whose birthday is today. I don't even know what day of the month it is. I'm just kind of a, am I casting or not? 28. Wow, you know your birthday day. Look at that. CG son, you just know everything. Fountain of knowledge here. On the right side of the casting stage.
Oh,
stage
IE
left.
completed.
IE is completed. And you know what happens with the Jinx? She doesn't care as much about the Zeal because she naturally gets up to, I believe, 130% attack speed if she's staying in the minigun form. So the first kill comes in, she runs faster than you. She definitely does more damage than you. The Kench, I believe, jumped off the bench to steal away the scuttle there. Nice little moment. SANDBOX take down the Cloud Drake as well.
Joker always feeling some good objectives.
Yeah. Gonna take a bit of damage here, but this will take a while. Malrang understands. You're almost never using your Karthus ult against a Tahm Kench. Also, since we had Karthus earlier today, we like to check in on the stopwatches. One for Sona, one for Tahm Kench. I caught the other ones. No one else has it. Trust me, I'm on this. I've been a play-by-play for upwards of 20 minutes on this broadcast. Joker taking a lot of free damage.
Can they take another one? Oh.
The answer right now is yes. I heard Dongjun, one of our Korean casters, lose his mind about that plate. He's hyped. And look at this difference. So we put it together, about 7,500 gold for the duo lane to, at the moment, 9,700 gold. There's so much extra gold between Root and Kellin, and it's all funneled, not from a funnel comp, but just put together onto Root with all the turret plates he has. I feel like that play from Jin Air is pretty low range. We do see Grace. He's going to have to use the Empress. I don't think he's going to get him out. Next auto will kill him. Flash auto. Rocket is going to be stasised away. And Dove says, well, good sir, tip of the hat to you. I'm not going to get that kill. That one was close, but no cigar to Dove. What are you seeing here? This pretty big number, right? 9 turret plates put together by Jin Air. And scarier thing is, I believe at least 8 of those are going to be picked up by Root, maybe all 9. So he's picked up a lot of the gold. What's the biggest number you've seen? Because you're watching from the spectator booth very much. What's the highest you've seen? I think we've seen 12 in terms of turret. 15 is the maximum turret plates going to be taken. I've seen 12. Do you remember a number bigger than 12?
No, not really.
Well, 9 if they're all on one person is obviously pretty damn cool. So that's what we're feeling, we're seeing.
And how much is that in gold? Like,
well, 1440, I believe, was the amount put there on the screen.
Jinx only.
I would say she probably picked up about 11 to 1200. Some of it was shared because your duo lane partner will pick it up. Speaking of picking it up, duo lane partner Kellin going to pick up the outer top lane turret. Summit kind of just been farming. We'll actually play with expectation a bit because we kind of talked before about why no Renekton's in Korea. If you just farm as Renekton and show up at a fight, almost any enemy top laner you'd prefer in a 5v5, and Aatrox falls into that. But do remember, the Sona when she Qs, we know how much damage it does. Those Viper highlights give me terrors. Those are the nightmares I have. It also means that the aura applies to other auto attackers. They do magic damage based on AP, more damage. When you have the over 50% rage on the Renekton, which is most of the time in a fight because you get passively from your ultimate, you apply that instantly because it counts as 3 auto attacks. So that can be just like 800 damage between the base ability and those on hits instantly as the game goes on. So it actually means that Renekton goes from being kind of sucky team fighter to more than decent, especially if Corki is going to be doing the big damage. kind of our takeaway there. But we're back to farming. This is LCK, G-Sun. We have a lot of farming.
I know
going on here.
Alice calls it as a lull state, am I right?
The lull state, yeah. He's a big fan. I think that if there was a flag in the lull state, it'd be one of his emotes. I think that's what it would be. I used to use, you know, the game has fallen into a bit of a lull, but the lull state does have a kind of nice ring to it. We had a new one on broadcast today. So, you know how we have Fiesta for the crazy games with a lot of kills? The word siesta is, of course, about taking that sleep.
Yep.
But the kind of cool little pun I came up with, I know Koreans love puns, some people are probably cringing, is siesta, C-S-T-A.
Oh,
Because
I like
everyone's
that.
just farming, right? But it also sounds like siesta. I got the G-Sun birthday, seal of approval. You're a good co-caster. You might have
I love
hated that,
puns.
but you make it sound good, and you're a Korean. You love puns. That's
You know,
how it
I
goes.
put in so much effort to like translate all the match points before games, you know?
Well, now there's a new one. Don't tell the Koreans about it. We'll have it on every single
Okay.
pre-game overlay. It's an English cast exclusive, all right, over here.
Cool.
Jin Air, you know, today they've been deciding to ARAM a lot. They come to the mid lane. They're not really too fancying the Renekton and the Psy. They just want to take down a turret. Now, this does mean that SANDBOX have less places to catch them, so it's safer. But it also means that Sona's kind of getting farm at the same time as Jinx. And that can be a problem. That can be a problem for the side of Jin Air, is that if you give Sona enough farm and then you put down all the extra wards and you get a Baron because you can heal and kill people for days and lose, it's kind of like you had all the options, but you chose the one that hurt you more than it helped. So we're looking for Jin Air to achieve something somewhere, and we're not seeing it right now.
But Jin Air did take down a lot of turrets in the early phase, so I think they did make a good setup to kind of counter Sona Tomcatch, but...
It's so nice, G-Sun. You know what I'm always asking here? What have you done lately? What did you do in the last 2 minutes? I didn't see any turret plays in the last 2 minutes. Those turret plays were 4 minutes ago, G-Sun. What have you done lately is what we're always asking the pro games. And lately, they've tried to, put together their powers to make some sort of Optimus Prime, Big Doll Power Ranger thing going on over here. I know I just butchered multiple franchises. You have to accept it. Special delivery into the backline. Grace is split. No flash up, as we know from before. They'll back away. What does this get, SANDBOX? It gets positioning on the Cloud Drake, but we're just waiting to see. Does Jin Air want to fight? Kellin is so squishy. Walks up, going to be charged onto. The uh-oh is real. Dived on. Kellin dies. There could be more here for SANDBOX. Jin Air do get away, but their support is down. Their control is down. We're not at Baron time just yet. You won't lose Baron for this. Summit walks up. He does get the stun onto Lindarang. He runs away now. Jin Air grouped for a while ever since those turret plays. What have you done lately? Unfortunately, it's lose their mid lane turret and lose their support. Watch and see if they can finish off here. It feels greedy, but it's 4v5. They fall away because the turret goes down. G-Sun, I think you might have been front row for what feels like your first throw, where Jin Air had a good lead. It wasn't going to be a game-winning lead, but it felt like it was going to be Jin Air's decision. Is this going to be an angry Tomcat? The answer is no. But Jin Air held all the cards. They were the dealer, and it was on SANDBOX who were picking up the cards. For a blackjack analogy, it does feel like they dealt, but they didn't take anything. And then you make a mistake. If you're going to go summon an Airy Lux, again, this was the build you went when you wanted to kill people as support Lux, and everyone hated support Lux at the time because it just goes too squishy. You're ultra squishy in this build. You're not getting out if you get any sort of poke. The poke comes down, the flash is down, the heal is down. Has Jin Air's time in the sun gone away as well? Their mid lane turret, it's alive, but it's living on a break. Watching here. Definitely stop me if you catch anything here, G-Sun, because right now, not a lot is happening. We're farming. Usually if this is Valdez and I, we're talking about teamfight tactics or some crazy stuff, because
I haven't been able to play it yet, so...
You just work too damn hard, G-Sun. Well, we'll find time. The game is young. The Koreans are still mad, because it hasn't even been released in Korea just yet.
I know, right?
Thankfully, we're the English broadcast. They're not listening to this one, so we get to talk about it. I'm sure the Koreans are like, don't mention teamfight tactics, but don't worry, we're talking about it. I see you out there getting the double spatula in the start of the game. I see you, and I don't like you. But I do like to see this Sona pushing up, poking around. They just want this turret because the moment you get mid lane turret, your Baron becomes safer, your wards go down deeper. The binding hits, but it's like a gust of wind. I don't even see the health bar go down. I don't even know if gray health was required. Mid lane turret goes down. And Jin Air, who had a lot of gold before G-Sun, it's actually SANDBOX Gaming that have the gold lead. Exactly. You're concerned. I am too.
I am.
you should be concerned. This is a bad sign, because what happens when the gold lead comes in is SANDBOX already have more wards. So they put down wards on the Baron, and then we already know Lux isn't going to be walking up to clear those wards, G-Sun. Everyone's squishy on their side, so they've got to kill someone out of nowhere to get any wards down.
Someone out.
Yeah, they have to catch someone out, otherwise the Baron dies, the game maybe is lost from there. I feel like I already know the future of what this game looks like, and I'm worried for Jin Air. They do have a couple of options. The cool thing about Lux is, before when we had these range supports against like assassins, think like Ari from FLICKR at Season 3 Worlds, killing people who are squishy like Lux. Back in those days, the supports just died. As, OnFleek gonna dive in. Malrang pretty squishy on his own. Taking a lot of damage here. Ult invested, but they can't boss him out. Oh my goodness gracious! That is gonna be the ult over the wall. The crescendo is there. There isn't any time for dancing, because Malrang just straight up dies. No flash, no life. That's the enemy smite down. What do we get from there? First, we're gonna focus on the bot side, as Summit's trades against Lindarang aren't what they used to be. But there's another one of those squishy members walking up, G-Sun, and they die fast.
Oh, my thoughts on Sona is that it's really unfair.
I agree.
The mechanics, I mean, like, you just press 4 buttons.
You just said the mechanics, which I feel like already is more than it deserves.
I mean, I know, right? You just, like, press buttons and, like, you just chunk down all the enemies. That doesn't really make sense.
So our mean-spirited thing on the English broadcast is gameplay. You understand, obviously, the word gameplay. Like, usually when someone makes it big, like, wow, what great gameplay. We call this gameplay because, I mean, there's no gameplay. That was also a rocket, by the way. They did a lot of the damage there, but yeah, we ironically call it gameplay because what is the counterplay? At the moment the Q leaves her accordion, there is no counterplay. You just die. Counterplay is dying, and this Sona is looking pretty strong. Went for the budget build, you'll notice. A lot of Korean Sonas were criticized for not going Lich Bane second item, because it means your damage is a lot lower. But the Athenes and the fact that Ghost was behind kind of makes sense that he went for a bit more of a budget build. Does mean he sustains for days, which can be big. On screen, Summit starting to trade. It seems like we haven't got part where Summit can get a solo kill. It's going to get stasis out of Lindarang. Ult from Tomkin's going to be interrupted. Joker's in between 3 people. Can they turn on him? They don't know OnFleek is near. Win between Lightning. Going to disengage them from it. Joker had his ultimate interrupted. He doesn't get to come in and kill off the Aatrox, but that stasis gone. Ult gone. A lot of tools used by Lindarang. Ghost and Joker push through happily through mid lane. They're now the best of friends. They had a bad start to their relationship, but it's definitely gotten better in this game number 2. And now SANDBOX still haven't started that Baron, but when I'm looking at a Sona comp, I look at the river and I say, where are the control wards on the Sona comp? And right now, they control the river, which means Jin Air, squishy members have got to get near something like the Ocean Drake. They're not going to. Not worth it for the Ocean Drake. Got to do the same thing over Baron. Coming back to a previous point, Lux can throw out her E from pretty far. She can ult. Both of those reveal. When those cooldowns are down, they're out of things. That's when Jin Air starts to panic. Farm here, and we're seeing some big item completions. Get to look at the gold leads. What catches your eye here, G-Sun, in terms of the gold leads?
Quirky got the bounty.
Yeah, got the bounty. That means 650 gold when he dies. He's also got 2,800 gold over his opponent. That's a rapid fire cannon. That's a full item. You know, it's not quite Infinity Edge. It's not far. So, concerning. Small concern there. I also do the same thing. Whenever I see gold leads like that, my eyes get super wide because we've all gone to lane in a real game and the enemy had 2,800 gold more than us, and we know how much it hurts. And I feel like soon, Grace will find out too.
I suddenly feel like Karthus hasn't used his ultimate yet.
You know, I think you're right. And Peanut,
how many stacks does he have right now?
Probably not many stacks
like
of Dark Harvest.
5, 6?
You know, I think you're doing that glass half full thing you like to do. I think it's more 2, 3. This is the Kindred.
I remember he got 1 against Sona.
This is the Kindred where you look at their stacks like, it must be 4 now, and it's 1. And you're like, uh-oh, on that one. So, yeah, I'm not optimistic there. But, yeah, Peanut was criticized because it was a very bloodless game, and he didn't get to use ult till, I believe, 34 minutes, maybe 38 minutes. The fact that we're kind of looking at that number is not encouraging, and people don't really know who to criticize. Is that Malrang's fault? Is that the team's fault? I know, in my opinion, Karthus ult is kind of a team thing, but you need to set up the pick. So you don't pick Karthus if your team doesn't know how to play around it. The fact that you can hit Qs is nice, but your team needs to know, hey, start some action over here. I can help from over here with my ultimate. So it's kind of both, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think I have to agree as well.
Well, I will hope the teams agree to some action. I want to show you some explosive action like this game did indicate, but unfortunately for now, Jin Air pulling back. Kind of always been the way. I'm sure you know this. You've been around LCK for years. You don't look to Jin Air to make the action. You know, you look to Jin Air to continue the game. And if you decide you don't want to fight, Jin Air's happy to be there at 60 minutes, 70 minutes. They're famous for their long games. So we're kind of waiting on SANDBOX to make the action. Feels like Baron kind of has to be the place.
But in the first place, Jin Air got the kind of the counter competition for Sona Tompkins and like Corky, the scaling mid champion. So I believe they like maybe it could have been better if they just like open more fights in the early phase. They can still like Karthus can stack up his like the harvest.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we always talk about in these scenarios. But the moment they fell behind a little bit, they got lost, right? They got a bit confused, and I think you and I are kind of in the same spot where we haven't seen the action. OnFleek's diving in. Goes, takes poke, but of course is Sona. Just straight on to Kellin's going to kill this Lux. He almost dies instantly, won't burn down for the challenging smite. We're watching if this fight will continue and reset, or if we're going to stop here. Kellin Summoner's down again. That rocket might have killed the Lux on the back end. He needs to be careful. There's vision here, potentially. Control ward goes down. Jin Air want to protect. They're in a turret. Will they be able to? Kellin just walks in the front line. Instantly popped in the front line. Rude gets excited though because the Crocodile dies as well. There is that Karthus ult we've been waiting for. Ghost isn't tanky, but Dove does a lot of damage in the front line. Flash in from Lindarang, won't finish the kill. 1 for 1 because the Dominus was never popped by the Renekton.
Is it a good pickup for Jin Air or?
I mean, given where the game was, I think even when you're behind is always better for the team that was behind. So I definitely think it's a good mistake. Good pickup from Jin Air. It shows they have damage. Some overrate his tankiness. Red buff gonna go to Root, exactly where you'd want it to go. So things still good. Things still good. Touch wood. That's one of your things at home. We don't have wood around here. We only have this desk, which who knows what it's made of, to be honest.
Plastic?
Probably plastic. Reader, please. On our plastic desk, we're waiting to jump up and cheer. And a Baron would be a place for action. We're on the Baron, spotted by the final spot that does give vision. Malrang walking up, but look at all those extra wards that Sona and her quest provides. They know exactly where Jin are, but now they don't. Control ward is down. What is going to happen here? Malrang has already stolen today. Flashes in with the top catch of all people. Well, the unsealed spellbook will pick up the Baron for SANDBOX. Karthus dies to begin this. It's now 5v4. Jin Air, they want to oversee. They don't want to allow SANDBOX to reset and move up with this Baron, but they can't chase. They don't have the chase, G-Sun. And that just means that SANDBOX get the kill. They get out. And sadly, for the side of Jin Air, they get nothing. We're going to see the Abyssal Voyage used to try to push up the wave as well. There's no time to breathe for Jin Air and SANDBOX Gaming. Eyes were closed. The sleep was there. The slumber has ended. The slumber party, sadly, that Lux didn't get invited to. I see that expression, and I think the Jin Air fans around us are going to be very similar. The Drake is now going to be free. The push is now going to be free because those Baron minions are going to push up. There's only so much SANDBOX will have to deal with. You know, Kellin, every time he goes near a fight, feels like he gets instantly targeted by OnFleek. No skill shots required on that dash from the Xinjiao. Here is the Sona poke. 3 items in. It's a utility build. This just means who's the biggest winner? Well, the people that get the utility. That's this Corky and Xinjiao, who now have Ardent Sensor and also the Fiends and Holy Grail. A lot of poke on the Joker, backing away. Gonna have to pop that Grey Health. Is there anything Jin Air can do? Can you see any way back in here on this siege? Well,
not yet.
You know, we usually try to lie a little bit, but I think you're right. I think right now they're really running out of options here. 2 waves being pushed in. A lot of damage from Dove and OnFleek. 500 movement speed, our observer Jonah Strong points out to. Summit pushes through the mid side here. Can Jin Air try a force? When do you fight? Because if you let all your inhibitors go down, there's probably no way in. Summit will go into melee range, stun up Lindarang. He gets away.
Maybe if they let like double CCs on SANDBOX players.
That would be the dream. But the thing is, also needs to be away from the Tom Kench player, right? Because he doesn't worry about CC at all. Speaking of CC, it's going to be damage. In the mid lane, Grace trying to hold on. Sun turret down. Grace taking a lot of damage, but trying to buy time. If they dive, it kind of has to be OnFleek or Summit, but Summit died last time he tried to get into melee range of the enemy. However, it's all a cunning ruse. Bot lane inner turret goes down. We're not breaking the base on the first Baron, but look at that gold total on the top right, G-Sun, almost 5,000 gold.
And they still have like a minute to like utilize their Baron buff.
Yeah, that's about a wave and a half, this wave, and then the next one will come in. OnFleek in melee range, he's got a Xin Zhao and Jin Air just see a low health. They try to run at it. They look for a red dot. They don't find it, and that distracts them from the mid lane inhibitor going down. We're playing musical chairs, and I don't think Jin Air is going to get to sit down in this one. They're going to be upstanding before too long. A lot of poke goes down. Oh, he's going to go wide. Yep, I grimace a little bit too. Pajama Party Lock's not going to be able to find any damage here. That is going to be the max rage crescendo, but not enough damage from just one ability. He needs to use Q in order to get the kill. 2 inhibitors down. They're trying to see if they can just end the game on this push.
I mean, they have Sona, they can keep healing up and... Uh-oh.
Exactly, the uh-oh is there. Xin Zhao dives in, ults, and now he's invulnerable. No one in range except Lindarang. Comes up from Guardian Angel, goes down. This could be the moment. Flash onto Malrang, and Sona support. No. Just carry. Is this Sona? No damage at all, really, from that Karthus ult. Feels like we get more damage coming out from the Sona. Heals through it. They're trying to end the game. Death time is pretty long. Malrang 30 seconds, 35 coming in from the Aatrox. Summit comes in. That's one Nexus turret down. No minion wave. Can they end it? They're trying to brute force. Exactly. Minion wave on the way. Wave clear comes in. Can they buy time? I don't know for Jin Air, but this is the last Nexus. This is all they have to defend. In comes the engage. They actually get it onto OnFleek, with Stace going to buy time. Grace dies. Not even a 1-for-1 because Tom Kench gonna pick up the Devour. Summit continues to brawl. SANDBOX in, SANDBOX out. Do-si-do. Crescendo goes wide, but Summit flashes in. They're gonna get another kill. It's onto the AD carry, who needs to be alive to keep this game going. Nexus goes down. Game will end. The GG call is there from the Korean cast. We give it the polite clap. Jin Air, we're in that good spot for a long time. But don't you think in that mid-game, when they kept going to mid lane, just couldn't grow their lead, they might look back at that time and say, that's where the game turned towards SANDBOX.
Sometimes I feel like when you have big money, you better know how to use it.
Wow. Now there you go. Dollar girl, says G-Sun, and sadly, Jin Air haven't had those chances where they had a lot of money. So now we kind of have to think about the MVP. The cash dollar just wasn't there for the side of Jin Air. They haven't had it before. They tried to have it here, and we have to think about who to choose for the MVP. There's many different ways you could go because there were some good games. The bot lane was probably the one that struggled the most, so we'd move away from there, even though Joker was pretty on point with his Devour timings in the late game. But it's another day, sadly, where Jin Air don't pick up a victory. They only have one match left in the first round robin to not go 0-9 like they did in spring season. The big squad of SANDBOX, they've got all their players, they've got a lot of coaches as well. They come together, they know their job is well done. And on a day when we had Kingzone versus Hanwha Life, and we also had SANDBOX versus Jin Air, I think you and I knew who we were expecting to win. My takeaway, and I'll listen to your opinion on this, I feel like SANDBOX would be way happier because it took so much work for Kingzone to win in our first series.
I mean, I agree with you, and my thoughts on Jin Air is actually that they have this potential. Like, they are filled with young guns, their mechanics are good, and even in the end of the spring split and during the promotions, they were actually really good. They were keep stepping up, and coming into summer split, they were actually like evolved, the new Jin Air, but they just need this one shot to start picking up victories. I think they can like grab the great momentum and just keep rolling on, but they haven't found one yet.
And I think that's really easy to say about teams that are losing, right? Like, it'd be very easy to just poo-poo that idea, but the reason why I agree with you is, if you watch the games, and we were all front row for Jin Air in spring, you didn't really think there was going to be that moment. The only question was 0-18 or 1-17. They've played a lot better. When they've gone on the Rift, they've been a lot better in summer, so I agree, they honestly are growing, but will they ever grow to being better than the 9th place LCK team? Right now, asking them to grow out of the relegations, it might be too much, even though that's harsh. Even though you want to wish them luck and want to see them succeed, there are a lot of good teams in Korea, and Jin Air have been trying to join that group, but they haven't really got there.
And I also believe that they have this chance in the very early season, the Summer Split. Well, if they did manage to pick up any win during like the first like 4 or 5 games, they might have been picking up some consecutive ones. But maybe I heard in the match point there some of the tough schedules are coming up, so they should have picked up victories earlier than this moment of split. So I'm a bit concerned for Jin Air right now.
And you're right. It's the early weeks of the season where teams like SKT, even some of our best teams, didn't really know where they were at. That's where you swoop in and you're like, well, actually, we prepared in the offseason. We got to win. And remember, they did that in games. They were 0 game wins for a long time in spring season. They already have 2 game wins. Their first over SKT, and they backed that up with a 2nd game win. So they haven't been the same level as spring, but game wins are nice. But 0-18 is still a possibility even if you're winning 1 game a series, so that's the sad thing. We'll focus on the side of SANDBOX, who do escape 7-1 on the first round robin. They're the first team done, 7-1. They're done. That means they're guaranteed to be right up the top. Only a Griffin 2-0 would rank them above SANDBOX Gaming in game score by 1. If it's 2-1 for Griffin, it would be the equal game score. 1 match left in the first round robin for the side of SANDBOX, and I actually forget who they'll be facing. Thankfully, we have a large array of papers in front of us. Ooh, isn't it a spicy one, Ji-sun? They're facing Damwon Gaming when we come back from the Rift Rivals break.
The friends matchup. Kind of.
Which friend is better? Who would you, if I had to ask right now? Now, Damwon obviously winning a lot. SANDBOX, higher score, because Damwon can't get to 7-1. They will finish at best 6-2. What are we feeling?
I'm not really sure because Damwon can actually like step up and learn a lot from Rift Rivals, but if not, maybe SANDBOX might be stronger. So
that means that awkward spot where SANDBOX watch Rift Rivals. Now we want Korea to be strong, but maybe Damwon to be a little bit weak. Maybe that's what they have to wish for. I don't think that's harsh. I think that's a reality. But that is your first professional cast, so you can add to your resume. Caster, by the way, on this side over here. Translator, caster, producer. Endlessly talented birthday girl as well. Happy birthday again to Ji-sun while we're on screen. Was a pleasure to join this cast with you, and now we just have that last bit of business. I might actually get to see your translation front row for the first time.
I use my like gestures a lot.
Oh, do you really? I'm looking forward to it. We can do that, right? Wait, I mean, if this doesn't work, are we going to the dance floor afterwards? I mean, you know, I got moves. I can do the robot. Come on, chap, back me up here. As we were kind of waiting for Jin Air to back up their early game, because you'll watch these early replays. Yes, this was where Malrang died, but after that, there was a lot of gold for Root.
I mean, this try was too obvious, but even though it failed, actually Jin Air was able to pick up a lot of gold, but they were not really knowing how to utilize it, I guess.
And this is the greatest example, is we would wish we had the timer here, because the time between the last replay and the next one was quite long. And that was the time that Jin Air controlled, and then things like this happened, and Sona and Corki are cool champions. Yeah, Sona, Corki, they're really cool. We're ironic on the English broadcast. Some fights here where we hope to see Root put in a death-like performance on the Jinx, but couldn't put it together. Almost. They got some Dark Harvest there. We won't ever know how many Dark Harvest stacks the Karthus ended up on. Here was the close one. Let's see how close it was. I saw 330. That is pretty
34.
close. So there was no smite used, double smite by SANDBOX, so it was just trying to get in there and work out the timing. Didn't work it out. SANDBOX got out with the Baron as well to add insult upon injury. And this is where, listen in, Ji-sun. Anything interesting here?
Let's go. No. TP comment. We have mana. Let's go. Lux no Q. What's the? I have Savage. I'll save you from Sona. No flash. I think they're speaking of Root. Hit the Nexus. It's over.
So
The cooldown for the Tumblr.
So a lot of the talk is very normal, and we see this pretty much every time. The English fans know all about big play, and big play, focus on Nexus, but as someone who understands the nuance of Korean better, how do you equate, say, SANDBOX's shot calls to what we hear from other teams? Is there any kind of interesting differences there? Because Korean teams in general are pretty kind of stable and quiet. You don't hear a lot of emotion in their voices. That's a big win. Is there any kind of interesting insight you can give us?
Well, last one was actually the the different game was really impressive because Ghost was telling Joker, he was playing Lux, he was like, don't go like in the front line because you might get cut out, and he was like, I have Jonia, I have Flash, I'm okay. And Ghost was still like, I don't want you to be cut out, so just stay behind me, be like safe. And then they were about to have a team fight near the Dragon Pit, and like Joker was shouting out like, where's Kellin? And then like Joker got instantly caught out by Kellin, and he's like, I found Kellin, and he had Flash and Zonia up. But it was really cool that Ghost give a lot of like sophisticated
feedback.
Calls.
And the reason why that's unique, because you might be listening from NA and EU and be like, okay, the AD carry giving the support some advice, that's not a big thing. Remember that Korea has that very kind of hierarchical strategy, so Joker, as someone who's on his military service, much older than Ghost, it actually is tricky for Korean pros that go overseas to give feedback, because the coach is like, just talk more. And it's not just language, it's, well, I must respect my elders. So important that they found the right little relationship there to give real kind of communication. And maybe Joker's going to have to listen a bit more, is what we learned from that one. So thank you for the little quirks there. It all seemed pretty stable in this end of this game. The MVP goes out, and look who picks it up. It's Dove, and he's looking to the camera like he's got something to show off. And a game like this, not
That
bad.
pose is cool.
I agree. Cool pose, cool teleport to ruin Malrang's day, and
Cool speed shot.
this is not going to be an LS approved card this game, it feels like, from Malrang. Yeah, that little joke there, I think, is the understatement. Flying in his OnFleek, this is much later when Kellin was trying to frontline a summon an Airy Lux, not even Aftershock, or the Guardian. Those were the plays we caught, those are the plays we saw, so congratulations to Dove on the MVP there. Give him that clap. You probably do that from the back studio all the time. You're clapping, but
Every time.
we don't get to see it usually, so thank you for bringing it live and lighting up the English broadcast here. It sounds like we're getting an update that the interview is live. The interviewer is here,
네,
so take it away.
참가들의 최다 연승 기록을 세웠습니다.
So,
2연승 달성한
SANDBOX
샌드박스
having their longest winning streak currently, and we're going to hear it from OnFleek Dove, the MVPs of today's game.
네, 팀적으로 정말 중요한 날이었습니다.
Today was a big game for SANDBOX.
텐데, 도부 선수 먼저
So Dove,
경기 소감
first,
들어볼까요?
how was today's game overall?
우선 오늘 또 경기 이제
So,
저희
first of all,
회사원분들
a lot of people from our office came to support us.
또 그거에 또 이제 보답을
I just want to say thank you.
네,
And I'm really happy to show great results for the to our members.
멘트 감사합니다. 자, 경기가 정말 길었습니다.
Game number one is really long.
2세트 했는데 11시가 넘어서 끝났어요. 플릭 선수 체력적으로 괜찮으실지 걱정이 되더라고요.
So, weren't you a bit tired? Well, I've been through this kind of situation in Spring Split, especially up against KT Rolster. We had a very long pause, so nothing could get worse. So I was just sitting there.
선수가 좀 걱정이 되더라고요. 이제 여기저기 좀 아플 나이거든요.
Well, we were a bit worried for Joker. You know, he's an old man.
하신 얘기 있으실까요?
Did Joker say anything?
재욱이 형이 조커 선수가 이제
Joker, he was like,
퍼즈 시간에 의도적으로
during the pause,
힘들 테니까 의도적으로
he said,
재밌는 얘기 계속
I'm gonna
먼저
be
꺼내려고 먼저
tired, so
어떻게든
tell us
말을
some
꺼내는데
funny stories. Like he's also trying to give us some funny stories, but I feel bad for him. I mean, like I'm not.
재밌게 그냥
I mean,
시간
like
보내고
it's not that fun, but I guess he wants to have fun time with us.
5G 광고 찍었는데 뭐
He was talking about the SKT, the 5G commercial.
클리드 이거 좀
He
봐서
was
이런
like
식으로 거기서 나왔는데
impersonating
저한테
the lines from the
동플리 상황 보고
commercial.
있는 거야 이러시는
Like OnFleek,
그래서
are you
이런
watching
말
what's going on?
하시길래,
And he was like trying to make parody on his own,
네.
but I was like, okay, well, I guess you're on it.
약간 노잼 농담을 통해서
네.
에너지를
Yes, Joker
끌어올리는
is a bit of a no
그런
fun
과정도
guy.
있었습니다. 자, 1세트 온플릭 선수가
So
리드를
game number
가져갔어요.
one.
상대가
You locked in
신짜오를
listen.
택했는데
Well,
신짜오로서
Jin Air
약간
locked
눈치를
in
쓸것 같거든요.
Sinjao, so as a Sinjao player, how did you feel?
이 좀 되고 나서 이제
Well,
조합상
during the
상대
draft,
정글이 할 만한 챔피언이 좀 간추어진
thinking of their
상태여서
composition, we could kind of predict what they're gonna take
인거중요하게
away.
됐는데 진짜
So
나와서
Sinjao was one of it.
리신했으니까
So,
내가 이길 수 있다 이런 마인드.
I was on Lee Sin, so I was
네,
really
흥분도
confident that I'm gonna just
있었지만
win.
온플릭 선수가 잘 풀어냈습니다. 끝나고 온플릭 선수의 묘한
So,
표정이 잡히기도 했는데
After game number one, you didn't really look happy.
순탄치 않고
Well, game was really
많이
hard, you know.
위험했던
There were a lot of
시기도
risky moments as well, so I wasn't really that satisfied.
는 샌드박스가 조금 더 마음을 다잡고
However,
있을
game
것
number
같아요.
2,
자,
SANDBOX was
노부
able
선수
to kind of come up with even improved performance.
소나가 많이 힘들었습니다.
However, Sona had a very hard time in
사실상
the early phase.
성장이 많이 막혀 있는 상황이었는데 어떻게 풀어야겠다고.
So, how did you guys plan to kind of cope with the situation? Well, I mean, the whole game wasn't really racked. I mean, we had the Wii scale competition as well. We had Sona Corki on our side to do the damage. So every time we did the skirmishes or team fights, we were able to win the games, the fights.
1세트, 2세트 계속해서 아지르 코르키 구도로
So we have been seeing Azir versus Corki in mid lane a lot today. Which one do you prefer?
저는 약간 코르키 쪽이 좀 더
I prefer Corki.
코르키가 아지르에 비해 사거리가 좀 더
Compared to Azir, it has a longer range.
저는 그래서 사거리 더 좋은
So
쪽을
since
선호해서
Corki outranges him, I prefer Corki over Azir.
사거리가 길어야 좀 편하게 할 수 있겠죠. 자, 경기에 아지르 코르키가 같이
between the
등장하는
games.
비율이 높아지면서 경기 시간을 늘리는 주범.
I mean, Corki and Azir are the main champions that are extending the game time. What are your thoughts on that?
일단 그거는 일단 팩트 같아요. 팩트가
I think that's
맞는데
true. That's a fact.
그래도 제가
However,
약간 좀 그것도 신경 쓰고 있어요. 이제 게임 시간 이제
I mean,
길어지는
I
걸
do pay
아니까.
attention
그래서
to
이제 최대한
like
초반에
extended game
이제
durations.
합류를 잘해가지고
So I try
싸움을
to
잘
go
해서
with a lot of like
시간을
roaming
지키는
style of
걸로
mid plays, you know, to
제가
kind of make the
노력하고
game shorter.
네, 도부 선수 오늘도 멋진 활약 감사합니다. 오늘 샌드박스가
So
좀
today,
공격적인
SANDBOX.
부분에서 새로운 픽을 시도를 한다라는 느낌이
People have been
들더라고요.
saying that you guys are trying something new in terms of champ select.
어떤 준비 과정이 있었는지.
So what kind of preparation did you
저희가
guys
준비한
have?
픽들은 많은데
We have a lot of champions that we prepared, but we didn't have the exact situation to kind of show what we got. But today we were able to kind of show what we prepared, some of the pocket picks, because we are having the right situation.
담원 게이밍 한 팀만 상대하면 됩니다.
So your last opponent will be
될수 있을까요?
Damwon Gaming for the first round robin.
7연승 그래도
7
저희
games winning
다섯
streak?
명이서
Well,
하면 충분히 할수
if
있는
all
거라고
5 members
생각해서
cheer up and
우승보다는
prepare
그
hard,
담원전 이기는
and
거
I mean, I'm not really paying attention too much for the winning streak. I'm just thinking about the Damwon Game series.
보여주실 거라고 믿습니다. 자, 온플릭 선수는
And
오늘
OnFleek.
정말 고생 많으셨고 경기도 길었는데 팬분들 여기
Any
안
message for the
가시고
fans?
계속 함께 해주고 계세요.
Staying in the late night at the LCK
또
Low
이제
Park.
3세트 경기 가고 퍼즈까지 걸리면서
We had a
막차
pause.
시간 거의 끝날 때는
We had a very long games.
여기 남기
You know, we
힘드실
might not be
텐데
able to have
끝까지
buzz or
응원해주셔서
train for the fans
잘
here,
이길 수
but
있었던 것 같아요.
thank you for staying with
감사합니다.
us. So that was the driving force for us to win the game.
네, 오늘도 정말 수고 많으셨고요. 승리 축하드립니다.
Once again, congratulations on the win, and thank you very much for this interview.
감사합니다.
We did it,
네,
G-Sun.
온플릭
Great
선수
translating there.
수고하셨습니다.
You were muted in my ears. I needed more G-Sun. I didn't get it, but it's cool to have you on the camera this time. You know, you had some moments in Spode TV, but we've already wished you a happy birthday on the broadcast as well. Hope you get to go out there and have some fun, but not too much. You're back tomorrow. We're doing this all again. Maybe I'll even be here, depending on how Valdez does. So hopefully Valdez gets everything better for tomorrow. He's making weird faces in the back. No one can see him right now, but that's fine. But let's just see what it all means. It means SANDBOX won, and damn, SANDBOX fans happy to hear that. First place, 7-1. Can't do much better than that. Only a single loss in the first round robin. In case you forgot, that was against Kingzone Dragon X, but kind of when Kingzone was on the up. Kingzone struggling a bit, so right now the power ranking might have SANDBOX up, but sadly, it ends up being 1v10.
I wonder who's the last opponent for Griffin in the first round robin.
I can get that information. It's Gen G, which either means a good thing or a bad thing. Gen G been up and down, so I don't really know what to make of that. That's the final match day of next week. We're coming back tomorrow with a rematch of Worlds 2017 final, Gen G versus SKT. Gen G a little bit down last time, SKT a little bit up. Still could be very competitive between those two teams. And then KT Afrika. KT kind of really struggling recently, but Afrika on the down. So it feels like everyone's fortunes is kind of like a, I feel really good going into what is a long break for a lot of these teams, or I feel a bit bad. So it's going to be an up and down thing. You're going to be a happy gal and a sad gal, I think, for both these teams tomorrow.
Well, I guess, I mean, it can be a big match, you know, Gen G SKT.
Could be. Could be 3 games. But G-Sun, because we have you on this side, you don't get to speak to the global fans directly very often. Do you have anything to say on your birthday to the global fans out there that have listened to your translation for ages?
So thank you for, I always say this, but thank you for tolerating me
Oh
throughout
yeah,
the
tolerating.
whole
You're doing a great job.
LCK
Come on.
Split, and I'm doing my best. I'm trying to make LCK English stream better, so keep watching us.
You're doing it on the air, you're doing it behind the scenes, you're doing a lot. So thank you very much, everybody, for watching today. It's been a weird and wonderful broadcast. 5 games, a caster swap, Papa play-by-play. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Thank you for watching.
You take me higher when I feel low. Make my world brighter when I'm alone. I keep on rolling, oh, with your fuel. You're like my gasoline that makes my dream come true. 'Cause this is the beginning. Together we'll be winning.